Hey everyone, welcome to another video. This here is my 2005 Corvette, of course, generation C6. This is a 2015 Mustang GT, and this is a 2013 Dodge Charger RT Max. Both of those cars used to have, but of course, one remains right here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about why I still have the Corvette and why the other two vehicles I do not have anymore, and my experiences with them. This topic has come up a lot in my videos, so without further ado, let's go ahead into the action. Alright, quick little disclaimer before we get into the video. This video is me trying to express my experiences with each of the cars that I have had the chance to drive. If you have your heart dead set on a Mustang, Camaro, Challenger, Charger, Corvette, go with it. As I'll explain later in this video, that's one of the main reasons why I decided to go with the Corvette. But they're all fun cars. Each of them have their downsides, and that's why there's these different models and makes to begin with. So let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so the answer as to why I decided to keep the Corvette out of the three main muscle car brands isn't a simple question to answer, but I'm going to try my best here. So let's go ahead and start with the Mustang. Had the Mustang about probably a year and a half to 2 years ago in my senior year of high school. At the time I still had the Corvette, but my Corvette was being worked on at the time. So the Mustang was a car that my dad and I basically used for fun. He had his S6 still, and of course I had the Corvette. And whenever we wanted to have some fun, we would take the Mustang out. There were a few reasons as to why we sold the Mustang, but it pretty much all boiled down to performance. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about that, because other than that, it was a fun car to drive. I kind of wish that we still had it, because it is definitely a good car to go just mess around in. If you want to go to a parking lot, drop the clutch, do some donuts, smoke the tires, it's definitely a good car for that. So more about the car. It was the 2015 Mustang GT. It had the 50 years appearance package, so no performance package. Had a Roush exhaust, and that was pretty much it. As you guys have seen in most of my Corvette videos, I like to push the car pretty hard. Of course, I'm on the street here, so I'm not going through corners at 80 miles an hour, but you know, when I take a corner, I definitely like to feel the G's going through the corner. And when I accelerate, of course, you got to hear that sweet sound of the V8. Here is pretty much the main reason we decided to get rid of the Mustang and pursue something else. So the main reason the Mustang went out the door was because of handling. At the time, the Shelby GT350 was just coming out, and the Mustang, of course, was a better used car to get, and the technology had yet to trickle down to the Mustang GT. Things like magnetic ride control and the adaptive suspension from the GT350 had yet to boil down, so there was no option for that yet. Just pretty much had the, you know, adjustable modes, sport, tour, and normal. I think those were the three modes. And I drove it most of the time in sport, but with that being said, you could go around a corner and it just didn't feel very confidence inspiring. The rear end definitely felt like it wanted to fishtail a lot of the times, and of course people make the joke, Mustangs leaving car shows, always looking for a crowd. And I could definitely see how if you weren't careful with the Mustang, it could get away from you. The first time I took the Mustang to an empty parking lot, brought the revs up, dumped the clutch, and it definitely spun around a lot more than I thought it would. So in order to get the Mustang to where you would want it, going around corners and have that feeling that the car is just being sucked down into the road, being pushed into the road, and not so light in the rear end, you would have to put some suspension work into it and we had a list of things that we wanted to do to the Mustang. Of course, it included more power, a Whipple Supercharger, but that list came out to about $15,000 to $20,000, and that's a lot of money to put into a car just to get it to where you want and how to handle how you would like it to. As I began to say, doing donuts in that parking lot kind of showed me that the Mustang, when it's sliding, you really got to have quick instincts, and you got to be real quick and direct with your inputs for oversteer correction. There were a couple of times when we were getting onto the freeway and just going around corners here in the city, of course pushing the car a little bit, but going around the corners on more than one occasion, the car would want to step out in the rear. So instead of feeling planted through the corner, the car kind of just felt loose. As you can see here in the Corvette, you know, I'm just going around the corner here. It's not dramatic, no body roll. The rear end feels planted, feels like it's being pushed down into the ground. But in the Mustang, it kind of felt like you're sitting on top of the car. Body roll wasn't too bad, but the main thing is that the rear end just felt like it always wanted to step out. But with that being said, that is pretty much the main reason for getting rid of the Mustang, because you'd have to put all that suspension work into it, and then of course adding more power, but it would just add up real quick instead of being able to maybe put the money elsewhere like you could with the Shelby GT350. So instead of putting that money into the Mustang GT, you could just get a GT350, and if you wanted more power, you could turbocharge it. As you can see there, coming out of the corner, the Corvette was planted and it was just shooting straight forward. I'll see if I can find some videos from when I had the Mustang and I was making videos with it. See if I can't find what I'm talking about here. Definitely is tail happy, and for some of you guys, you may enjoy doing that. You may enjoy just having a machine to hoon around in. And that's not to say the Mustang's a bad car. It's definitely a fun car, like I said in the very beginning of this video. Like I said, I kind of still wish that I had a car like the Mustang just to go out and cruise in, and of course just mess around in. The Corvette can do that, but of course, being a car guy, you can never have enough cars. But other than the handling, the Mustang, you know, if you wanted to, you could definitely carry more people than you could in a Corvette. Corvette only having 2 seats. The Mustang has 4 if you want to scoot your seats forward up in the front. And the Coyote is pretty much one of the best motors that you can get from the factory now, and put a lot of boost through it without having to rebuild the bottom end. You guys have seen it's just a 6 with his Coyote Mustang. It took him a while to get through that motor. He was able to put a lot of boost through it and pretty much get to 1,000 horsepower with that thing. So that's the Ford side of things. Now, I don't really consider this my first car because the Charger was handed down to me from my dad to drive for a couple of months until I got the Corvette here. But I did drive it for a few months, so I definitely had a lot of experience with it. Ultimately, if I wanted to, I could have decided to upgrade to the new Charger. At that time, it was the 2015 Ford Challenger. But as you guys can see here, I ended up with the Corvette and had the car for 4 years now. I guess that begs the question, why did I decide to go with the Corvette instead of upgrading to a Challenger, keep the Charger, or upgrade to another Charger as well? So my dad has his reasons. His reasons being that the Corvette, you can only have one other person with you in the car. Another C7 here. much my dream car. It was something special. And so I figured if I had the opportunity to go with the Corvette, I'd be stupid not to. Now let's go ahead and talk about some real reasons or practical reasons why you should choose the Corvette over a Challenger or Charger. Of course, the Challenger and the Charger, they are a bit heavier, and when it boils down to the numbers on the track, the Mustang actually does handle better than a Challenger or Charger. But for some reason, I just felt kind of confident. I don't know if it was because I was a 16-year-old with 5.7 Hemi under the hood, or if it had something to do with the actual weight of the Charger, because with that weight, there is a good deal of weight transfer as you're going through the corners. And so when you get on the brakes or when you're going through a corner, that weight transfers over the tires that are trying to get grip. So that could be part of the reason as well. The thing I liked about the Charger is, of course, it had more seating, but I guess that can be a good and a bad thing. And it had the Beats audio system. I like the audio system in my Corvette. It's the Bose audio system. There's no shortcomings there. So again, the Charger was definitely a fun car. Mine was all-wheel drive with the Hemi, because when my dad had it, he drove in the snow quite often. It was actually a phenomenal all-wheel drive system in the snow. For the times that I was in the car, I was actually pretty impressed. Never felt like we were going to get stuck. Never wanted to fishtail around the corner. All-wheel drive was actually pretty seamless. It wasn't jerky or anything. And I heard that they could actually handle some power. So if you wanted to supercharge it, you could have a 600 horsepower 5.7 Hemi with all-wheel drive. So again, it was a fun car. It would definitely be great for road trips, which we did many times when I was a kid. Had that car in middle school. Yeah, the handling isn't as good as a Corvette, and you do definitely need a lot more power to get the car moving. As an example, I've seen some Hellcats online with 1,000 horsepower race a 800 horsepower Corvette, and they end up being pretty even. You do need more power to get the car moving, but like I said, it was a fun car. The main reason that I decided to go to a Corvette instead of getting a Challenger or a Charger was because I was a high school kid, and I figured that I'd be stupid not to get my dream car in high school if I had the chance. But for you guys, some of the reasons may be, yes, the handling. If you're into, I guess, being part of a community of cars, the Corvette community is definitely great. The Dodge community now, Mopar, is blowing up now. Tall Guy Car Reviews, Demonology, all those guys. So with that, you can't really go wrong there. I guess it all boils down to, if you want a muscle car, drag car, you want something like a sports car like a Corvette. Of course, a better comparison for this would be the Camaro, but a lot of people have been asking me how come you went with the Corvette instead of getting something like a Challenger or a Mustang, both two-door coupes. Thinking back on it now, the main reason I still have it is because the LS platform is definitely a great platform to work with, whether that be boosting it, NA applications, and then the Corvette, you really don't need to do much to it if you want to take it to the track, go drag racing. Of course, each model year has their things that should be upgraded, but being a car guy, if you can afford having more than one car, of course I would have a Mustang or a Challenger and the Corvette. You know, if I want to go just light the tires up, maybe I'd take the Challenger or the Mustang, but if I want to go carve some canyons, I'd take the Corvette. I hope you guys found my opinions valuable in this video. I tried to just give my experiences with each of the cars, and of course why I still have the Corvette or didn't upgrade to a Charger or Challenger or switch over to a Mustang. for those of you who stuck to the end of the video, we actually might have a part coming for the Corvette, which is pretty exciting. I didn't get to do a full build series on this car because I wasn't filming YouTube at the time, but we should have a part coming for the Corvette maybe within the next month or two, provided that things within the next couple of weeks go well here. Of course, I got to fix the issues that I have with the car, one being the hood, two being the no FOPS detected issue, which I think I'm cracking down on, but I'll make separate videos for those when they come out. And one last little note here for you guys. Of course, if you have your heart set on Mustang, Challenger, Charger, Camaro, Corvette, go for it. At the end of the day, that's why I chose a Corvette when I was in high school, because Corvette was pretty much my dream car. Every time I saw one rolling down the road as a kid, those dual circle taillights, I'd always have to point them out to my parents, take a picture, give the guy a thumbs up. So, with all that being said, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Also, share this video to your friends and those who may enjoy it or find it useful. And of course, go down there, hit that subscribe button. We are on the way to 1,000. This time we are a lot closer. So, let's just get there as fast as we can. Of course, thank you guys for the support. With all that being said, join the club, and I'll see you in the next one.
I'm the motherfucking greatest. Yeah, I'm the greatest. Bitch, my competition, they just don't fit that.